on Saturday. The gymnasts that we'll really be thinking about are those who are in the vulnerable positions on the leaderboard. Gymnasts really with a sub-60 score after the first day. The likes of the 18th through to 24th placed athletes, they're the ones who will be hoping that they'll be able to count upon 2 good scores today and therefore discard something that is actually quite high, because one of the 4 scores can be discarded. That's assuming the gymnast is doing all 4 pieces. They might not be. The gymnasts that we're really going to be interested in looking at are the likes of Adelina Belyaeva, Evelina Orfanu, Nora Demier, Louise Christie, Rita Araujo. Those gymnasts are the ones that are 25th through to 29th and very much are looking to make a move up. And some of those gymnasts will be competing with a favoured apparatus today, like Louise Christie, for example. Now, make of that what you will, because like all data analysis before something, it has a big asterisk next to it saying hypothetical. It could all be harvest in the end, it could all be a load of old nonsense. We're not going to know until the end of the day, but suffice to say we're going to try to keep you abreast of all of these interesting qualification developments as the day goes on. And as I said, one of the key complications in this is that not everybody did both pieces yesterday. And so consequently, we have got gymnasts who currently are not featuring in the all-around standings who will come into play today because they only did either hoop or ball yesterday and will be doing clubs and ribbon today. So that's going to throw an extra spanner into the works, and we've already got enough spanners to be thrown into the works with the gymnasts that we're already aware of in all-around qualification. So, hope that's made sense. I bet it hasn't. Ollie Hogben here, and somebody who will make sense sitting next to me is Blythe Lawrence. Blythe, what a fascinating day yesterday.
It was spectacular in so many ways. We saw beautiful performances, we saw some surprises, and we can look forward to more of that with the clubs and with the ribbon. As one former Olympic medalist put it, with the clubs, well, there are 2 of them, and so it makes it more complicated, forcibly. Sometimes doubly complicated, maybe more than doubly complicated. The ribbon also, it is at least 6 meters long, and that too presents its particular challenges. So there's a lot to look forward to.
It's the 39th European Championships in rhythmic gymnastics, taking place at the National Gymnastics Arena in Baku. We are close to the Caspian Sea. It is a very pleasant day in this very pleasant city. A gymnastics mad city. There are more people than that in the arena, I promise. Well done to all of the volunteers. They've done a cracking job. They've really been enthusiastic and helpful, as they always are in this place. It's always one of the great pleasures of coming to the National Gymnastics Arena in Baku, the volunteers. They're bright, inquisitive young people with their eyes on the world, keen to study overseas, keen to learn foreign languages. One of the young gentlemen who's been helping us in the broadcast position is a graduate of aerospace engineering who's looking to study in the United Kingdom. There's a woman who's been helping us who is an English graduate at university, also learning the French language. They really are an impressive bunch of folk, aren't they?
They are. And gymnastically, Baku opens its doors to the world, not just for events like this, but for training camps. They are always welcoming gymnasts from other nations. They arrange for them to come, and they share their knowledge freely. It's one of the things that is just remarkable about this country and about the Azerbaijani people.
We'll see the Serbian team later on, and Serbia actually has a partnership with the Azerbaijan Gymnastics Federation at the moment, trying to bolster its rhythmic program through cooperation and shared practice with the Azerbaijan Gymnastics Federation. Exactly as you say, Blythe, they are very, very keen to to share their knowledge and also to acquire knowledge, because it is a reciprocal arrangement, and that's what the sport needs.
And athletes from other nations who have come here for competitions or for training camps, they absolutely rave about this arena, about the facilities you get here.
These are the gymnasts that we'll be looking at in the first rotation of the day, but the third rotation for them. It's set C, and it's Karolina Havlíková of the Czech Republic who gets us underway. In this group, Emmy Piroinen is featuring. She's 19th in the all-around standings. We also have Esther Kreitzmann and Adelina Belyaeva, who are 22nd and 25th respectively. Very good performances from them. We've got Hanna Wiesner of Hungary, who's 23rd, Emilia Heichel of Poland, who's 21st, Fanny Pignitsky, who's 7th, and then we might be looking at gymnasts like Nora Dumier in this group to see if she can push up, having been 27th at the halfway stage. Sit back, relax, and make yourself comfortable. It's great to have you with us for the start of the second day of qualification in Baku. And I'm sure there are many of you who've set a whole day aside to watch this, and you will not be disappointed. Our Masters of Ceremonies in the arena have told us it's time to go, and so it is. The honour falls to Karolina Havlíková. It's the start of play on the second day of qualification in Baku. Competing with the clubs, Karolina Havlíková of the Czech Republic, not a gymnast in the all-around. This is her second and final performance. And as if things couldn't get any better, we open with a Eurovision anthem, Wild Dances, that won in 2004. Ruslana, actually, who sang that, was involved in the contest in Liverpool just a couple of weeks ago. Karolina Havlíková, she always likes to choose really big music. She's not afraid of a big anthem.
She has a penchant for very big music choices, just like you say. Over the years, she's done Top Gun with the ball. She's done Ice Ice Baby with the ribbon. This completely in character.
Representing Croatia, it is Lana Sambol, gymnast who has competed a couple of world championships. Oh, it's such a tough opening that for Lana Sambol, as we see the evidence of just how complex the ribbon is.
It is a great demonstration of how beautiful ribbon can be, but also how things can go wrong, unfortunately. And of course, the rhythmic gymnastics equivalent of coming off of the balance beam is when your apparatus goes out of bounds and you have to use the replacement apparatus. Minimum 1 point deduction for that.
Sambol was in 46th place at the overnight stage of the competition. Gymnast who was first noticed by many years ago when she won the Croatian Rhythmic Gymnastics League with a 10-point margin, and everybody went, hang on a second, there's a really serious contender coming out of Croatia here.
Much of her work is technically lovely. She shows good spirals and snakes with the ribbon. That's a boomerang catch.
We await the score of the clubs for the first gymnast, Karolina Havlíková. So we're going to go, generally speaking, alternating. There are a few occasions here and there where you get to the same apparatus back to back. 23.05 for Karolina Havlíková. To a gymnast in the top 40 at the halfway point of the competition. Or a correction to that, this is Nikola Nováková of the Czech Republic, who performed with the ball yesterday. 27.9 was her score. That is lovely from Nikola Nováková of the Czech Republic. The 15-year-old has added so much to her routines over the years. As the score comes in for Lana Sambol of 17.15. But yes, it's just great to see her increase complexity, I suppose. In other words, she's got skills, they're multiplying.
Yes, exactly. Really nice dynamic element with rotation there. The chaîné turns followed by the turn while the clubs are in the air.
Tamara Artic of Croatia. 43rd at the halfway mark. It's a really nice routine that from Tamara Artic. Unfortunately, got herself into a couple of tangles, the latter really quite pronounced. But she is the national champion with the ribbon. 24.3 for Nikola Novakova.
One of the rules in rhythmic gymnastics is if the rope gets, or if the ribbon rather, gets knotted or tangled up, you have to stop and untangle those knots before you can continue.
Now to Elizabeth Jamil of Finland, the gymnast who is currently in 24th place. The national and Nordic champion with the clubs, Elizabeth Jamil of Finland. She's just getting better and better.
She was so impressive in her first two routines yesterday, wasn't she?
She was indeed, as Tamara Artic scores 20.45.
She has a particular ease of movement, this young gymnast from Finland, and a polish. One thing to look out for if you are new to rhythmic gymnastics is the trajectory of the gymnast as the apparatus that she throws is in the air. Does she go in a straight line, or does she have to make small adjustments in order to get where she needs to be to retrieve the apparatus?
Representing Estonia, Esther Kreitzmann, who had a very good day yesterday, particularly with the ball, 29.55. She is in 22nd position overnight. So certainly somebody with aspirations, realistic ones, of being in the all-around final. She's only 15. Now, it is important to remind ourselves that one score can be discarded if a gymnast is doing all 4 pieces. The ribbon was knotted, and unfortunately, Esther Kreitzmann had to retrieve the replacement.
She made a quick decision to do that, found that the knot in her ribbon was something that she would take a massive deduction if she took the time to unknot, and thought it was better just to pick up the replacement. A good decision, probably.
The dilemma is that you risk, don't you, losing so much of your routine if you're unpicking the knot, and so your difficulty completely hemorrhages.
That's exactly it, and you might find that you have additional artistry deductions as well while you stand there and try to get the knot out. Better just to take the 1-point deduction, pick up the replacement apparatus, continue on with the routine.
And she picked it up and went straight into that really nice horizontal fouette sequence, getting good distinctive patterns with the ribbons, so it was a quick and sharp recovery.
The other thing that happened is, right after she picked up the replacement apparatus, she really flirted with having the apparatus go out of bounds. But as long as the apparatus doesn't touch the floor, it can go outside the plane of the red line, the demarcation line, but if it doesn't touch the floor, you don't have a deduction. Very unusual attempt at a fouette turn with the leg held at head.
And that a particularly difficult variation of the fouette family. 24.95 the score for Elizabeth Yamil. Representing Finland, Emmi Piiroinen, 19th place at the halfway mark. A problem right at the close of the routine for Emmi Piiroinen. No question though, this is a gymnast to watch. 21.25 for Esther Kreitzmann, who will be hoping to not need to use that score. But back to Emmi Piiroinen, a quality athlete.
99% of this routine was sharp and brilliant. She uses the front walkovers and then a back walkover in her dynamic element with rotation. Overall, very strong.
Adelina Beljajeva of Estonia, 25th at the halfway mark, so 1 place below automatic entry into the all-around final. It is such a high-intensity day for these athletes. It's such a nervous day for them, for the delegations watching on, for their coaches, for their fans.
The ribbon presents its own peculiar challenges. It is one of the loveliest apparatus. However, the smallest of concentration errors can result in a drop and a complete halt in momentum to the routine, unfortunately.
26.6 the score for Emmi Piirainen. So that's her lowest score so far, but it is nonetheless a positive outcome for the Finnish gymnast. Now to a gymnast in 23rd place at the halfway mark, Hanna Wiesner of Hungary. Very good with the ball, had some issues with the hoop yesterday. That is such an enjoyable piece of gymnastics. Using Gugu muck. Nothing mucky about her performance though, very crisp.
And starting off with something from the Rolling Stones, paint it red, paint it black, paint it whatever you like. It was a phenomenal routine delivered by Hanna Wiesner. How nice to see this gymnast beginning to come into her own and to go out in the first subdivision with a routine like this with the clubs. Well done to her.
She was 32nd in the all-around competition in Varna 2 years ago, 18th last year, so absolutely a good trajectory in her career, and hoping for her today to have the sort of performance where she can maybe discard that hoop score if all goes according to plan.
Good trajectory on her dynamic element with rotation as well, featuring the 3 illusion turns. She gets series bonus for that because she does 3 of them.
This was glorious fun, the choreography. That just works, doesn't it, as a marriage between her and the music. It's a very good find and a very good fit. But at the heart of it is very good balletic work.
Absolutely. Displayed in those fouette turns with leg at horizontal. Also in her pre-acrobatic elements, the front walkover, 3 chaîné turns, that will give her additional bonus, and then catching and another front walkover.
22.4 for Adelina Belyaeva. A gymnast sitting in 21st place at the halfway mark, Emilia Heichel of Poland. Very good with the ball yesterday, a score of 30, now performing with the ribbon.
You've been hit by, you've been struck by a
It's proving to be a bit of a day for ribbon misbehaviour in Baku for this first group of gymnasts. Nonetheless, Emilia Heichel came to Baku just over a year ago for her senior international debut. She's a much better gymnast since then. The last year has been very good for her.
Perhaps one thing we should take into consideration with the ribbon is that there is a double challenge for gymnasts. You have the stick, which is a certain length and weight, and then you have the ribbon itself, which is a completely different length and weight. And managing the two can be quite difficult.
26.6, the score for Emmi Piirainen. That is being challenged both from an apparatus difficulty and body difficulty perspective. And now perhaps a good opportunity to talk about the two different types of difficulty. For those of you new to watching rhythmic gymnastics, they are as they sound: difficulty that you perform with the apparatus, difficulty that you perform with your body, the almost balletic difficulties. But I think fair to say the apparatus difficulty rather wins out in terms of the contribution to the overall score.
Well, in terms of building a high score, just as you say, Ollie, we have to take into account body difficulties. So those are the balances, the turns, the leaps and the jumps that a gymnast does. And then apparatus difficulty is something a little bit different. It is essentially bases like large throws and catches from large throws, and then kind of add-ons like whether the apparatus is unsighted or caught without the hands or under the leg. And yes, a gymnast is allowed to count a maximum of 20 apparatus difficulties in a routine, and only the highest 9 body difficulties count. So what we see in this code of points is that there's a real emphasis on the apparatus difficulty to build the score.
We look back at this display from Emilia Heichel. And also from Hannah Wiesner. These are the scores that we're waiting for, and as mentioned earlier, we also have an inquiry to be looked at for Emmi Piirainen. no change. Emi Piironen's score remains as it was. I should point out there is a financial jeopardy for submission of inquiries. If you aren't successful, then your inquiry fee is no longer your money. Let's put it that way. You have forfeited that. If it is successful, then presumably you get your money back or your choice of vouchers for your favourite shop. I don't know, but it's an important aspect of any sport that there has to be some form of jeopardy for a challenge or an inquiry process to stop really farcical inquiries being put in. And some sports have a system where you lose points or your opponent gets points. Some sports have a limited system. You think about maybe the challenges that are used in tennis for players where they have a certain number in a set, and the same in badminton. One of the sports I often reference is Greco-Roman freestyle wrestling, where if your challenge is unsuccessful, your opponent gets a point. Well, Fanny Pignitsky with a score of 0 there with the clubs. It's a touch unfair, she hasn't performed yet, but Hanna Wiesner gets 27.45. And that's important for Hanna Wiesner because that's higher than her hoop score. Fanny Pignitsky, 7th place after 2 rotations. An excellent performance yesterday, 32.25 and 31.7. Performing to Insomnia, but I doubt Fanny Pignitsky had a sleepless night after how good she was yesterday. Small drop at the start, didn't take much to recover the apparatus. We'll come back to that as we confirm that 27.45 for her teammate Hanna Wiesner and a 25.45 for Emilia Heichel.
Please welcome.
But back to this display from Fanny Pignitsky.
Yes, there was a momentary drop of one club, but loss and retrieval of the apparatus, if you don't have to take any steps to recover it, only half a point.
Representing the Netherlands, Femke Barhorst.
Je comprends, je veux savoir pourquoi je suis là. Dis-moi pourquoi je suis là. Je marche seule, je suis mon bras, est-ce que tu es dans ma main? Je vais au bout de la
Femke Barhorst said something very interesting about transitioning from junior to senior rhythmic gymnastics and adjusting to the new length of the ribbon, that extra metre that you have to work with. And she's found that difficult, but the signs are encouraging based on that work.
It has been so nice to see Dutch gymnasts at the European Championships. It has been 20 years since we've seen Dutch individuals at this competition, and they've really made quite a big impression, haven't they, so far?
Absolutely right. And it will only help the sport to grow in the Netherlands. And the Netherlands is such an enthusiastic gymnastics nation. One can generally find them well represented at just about every discipline, but she did have quite a pronounced knot in the ribbon there.
And that could invalidate the movements that she is doing while the ribbon is knotted, unfortunately for her. Her technique is quite good. The illusion turns very clean, for example. And there's an example of a requirement with the ribbon, using it to move over two large body segments. Quite often it's both arms.
Please welcome Josephine Jutfeuer, Norway.
28.85 for Fanny Prydnitsky is still a very strong number because, as we mentioned, that drop was quite a small one. Representing Norway, Josephine Juul-Müller, 33rd at the halfway point. Josephine Juul-Müller of Norway using Chico's version of the Gypsy Kings Bamboleo. 21.35 for Femke Barhorst. Gypsy Kings still going strong. They performed at the Royal Albert Hall, I think, on Monday of last week.
Ah, it's a very engaging performance, isn't it?
Please welcome Anna Werner.
Absolutely. And she is a gymnast who has benefited from really strong performances at the regional events like the Nordic Championships. She's become a key player in that part of Europe. First chance to see Anna Werner of the Netherlands. 16-year-old from Heerenveen. Anna Werner of the Netherlands using the Bumblebee Boogie, and she will doubtless be buzzing upon making her senior international debut. The young athlete who goes to a sports school that actually was attended by the likes of Epke Zonderland and Susanne Schulting.
In Herrenveen there is a Dutch training center. She had great energy in this routine.
23.3 for Josephine Juhl-Müller.
Switzerland.
Representing Switzerland, Nora Demier. 27th place at the halfway mark. The Swiss champion with the clubs, easy to see why.
That is a very clever performance with the club and beautifully delivered. One of the things she does so well in this routine is accord her footwork with the music and also implicate her entire body from her head to the tips of her toes into her choreography. It's so enjoyable to watch.
21.05 for Anna Werner. Congratulations to her on making her senior international debut. And she's got a very good success rate nationally as well. She's won a medal in every single category at junior and senior level already at 16. Nora Demier is absolutely in the conversation for a berth in the all-around final. Can you believe that we're saying that about a Swiss rhythmic gymnast? That is so exciting.
It's a new thing, and that performance with the clubs will only help her campaign.
Yes, she scored 27.5 with the hoop and 26.5 with the ball. May well be that we see her finest score for this performance, actually. Really does attack the leaps, doesn't she? The back leg flicks up wonderfully, and the head also comes back to bolster the difficulty, increase the difficulty of the leaps.
Yes, when you put your head back in the ring position, that does make things more difficult. This was certainly as well as we have seen her perform this routine.
Laura Gruniger, Switzerland.
27.85. That was a key routine for Demier. That's the one that made the World Cup final in Portimao just before these championships. Lauren Grüniger from Switzerland, 36th place at the halfway mark. We have to remind ourselves we're watching a first-year senior in Lauren Grüniger. She's got real promise. This is still very new to her, competing at this sort of level.
She really gave herself quite a lot to do in this routine, and up to the final seconds she was executing small throws and milling the clubs. Here's an example of her dynamic element with rotation, one of them. And she doesn't quite manage to trap the club with the other club as she'd hoped. That will be a deduction of about half a point.
We're not sure whose birthday it is, but we're sure they're having a happy one. How can you not be when watching the Rhythmic Gymnastics European Championships? Seems to, there we go. Now we've worked it out. Now then, on to the serious business, which is the next rotation, the final rotation for all of these gymnasts. This will end their qualification campaign. Representing the Czech Republic, we have Nikola Novakova. Now after this, she's going to feature in the all-around competition because this will bring her to 3 routines. That was most unfortunate for Nikola Novakova, and having not performed with the hoop, she doesn't have the luxury of a discarded score. The ribbon just got wrapped around her leg and it was so difficult to extricate herself from it. 21.85 is the score for Lauren Grüniger with the clubs.
Ah, the ribbon, it's light, it's lovely, and yet it can be so unwieldy. There were a couple of moments in this routine where it did get in her way, unfortunately, notably where she got it tangled around her leg.
From Croatia, Lana